So you recently became the first UK-based syndicate to have a winner in Australia, and in fact not just one winner, it was a very good night for you. Tell us about it.
We had Blue Tick Fern run a couple of weeks before she broke into season. She finished second, so we'd hit the post, and we then got into these two dogs, Captain Dynamite, One Night Only. We had high hopes for both of them. They were doing some nice trials, and when they broke, both of them, well, One Night Only broke and led and was never caught, and then Captain Dynamite picked up the leader, but it was like 2 a.m. and the WhatsApp group was going mad, so I think everybody was up.
So you're getting up in the middle of the night to watch your dogs race in Australia?
Basically, like 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes it can be the afternoon, but yeah, there is a buzz about it.
What made you get into ownership in Australia then?
So it was a couple of years ago. I had some conversations with Ben Keith. Obviously, he was sponsoring the Derby at Toasted at the time, and it was an idea of Ben's to have international dogs over from either Australia or America. So basically, long story short, we tried our best, and it wasn't financially viable for an Australian dog to come over. But with the connections I had made in Australia, there was an opportunity, and we took it.
And when you say not financially viable for their dogs to come over here, that's because the prize money in Australia is far superior to here, isn't it?
The financial side for an Australian to bring, because we have to be realistic, if they were wanting to come over for a tilt at the Derby, they wouldn't send any old dog, they would send one of the best. And for them to send one of their best dogs over for the English Derby, they regularly top $500,000, $600,000 in prize money has been a top dog there. So for them to come over here, for potentially to be knocked out in a round and to be out of, because it takes time in quarantine to come over, time in quarantine to go back, it just wouldn't have been viable.
It's unbelievable prize money there. I think we should point out that it is funded very differently, isn't it?
Yeah, so the way the funding works is Tabcorp, they have all the betting and they have all the media rights, so they pump $100 million into the sport every year.
Tell us about what you've made of Australian greyhound racing, aside from the prize money differences. Is there anything else that struck you as being very different to how it is here in the UK?
I think in Australia, the way they use technology, obviously the prize money is one thing, but the technology and the way that they embrace technology is totally different to what we do in the UK. I think a lot of people have seen that on our Blue Tick Racing Twitter feed yesterday, where it was taken over and the guys were recording behind the traps and after the race and before. It was phenomenal.
The Australian press have been very interested in you as well, and the fact that there are UK owners buying dogs over there. Why is that, do you think?
I think it's because it's something different, and they obviously think that their sport is the best in the world, and then they see big owners like ourselves moving into their sport, and obviously they're very happy about it that we have chosen to buy dogs in Australia.
They've obviously had their problems out there as well, welfare related problems, really big ones as well. Have you been able to assess the state of play out there now?
Yeah, so the gap is the adoption over there. After the dogs finish racing, we have to fund the retirement of all our greyhounds. The welfare side of racing's phenomenal over there now.
Have you got plans to go over?
Well, we're discussing going over in November. The Melbourne Cup Greyhounds is in November, and obviously the Melbourne Cup horse racing's in November. So we might try and kill two birds with one stone and try and get over there.
And we touched on how great the prize money is, but you've got a dog racing there at the moment who's already won a certain amount and is going for some big prize money coming up.
Yeah, so Captain Dynamite, he's ran 3 times and his prize money is $8,000 at the moment. He's in a Group 3 final next Saturday for $25,000. So we could potentially have a dog that's earned over $30,000 in 4 races. And it's not just the winner's prize, the prize money goes right through. So for that final it's $25,000 to the winner. I think it's $7,500 for second and $5,000 for third.
And after that he could go in a competition called the Launching Pad, which is how much?
The Launching Pad, I think it's worth around $300,000, which is phenomenal.
And what about the trainers? Do they make a better living than our trainers here?
So the way that the trainers work over there, whereas obviously in England we pay kennel fees as owners, and sometimes they can get the race money if it's graded, or you work out deals like that. Over in Australia you work on a 50-50 basis. Because the prize money is that good, once you buy the dog in Australia, they get 50% of the prize money, that's their pay.
I think it's fair to say that we don't really know who has the better dogs, us here or them there, although I'm sure they would claim that they do, and we might like to say that we do, but you are still in discussions with Ben Keith at Star Sports about switching dogs between Australia and the UK. It's something you'd really like to see happen, isn't it?
Yeah, well the first thing is we wanted to be the first winners over there, we wanted to be the first owners over there. The next step for us, really pushing the envelope, is to bring a dog back from Australia to run in the English Derby, and we'd also like to send dogs from England over to Australia to run over there as well, because the age-old question has long lived on: who is the better dogs, Australia or England? Australia, UK and Ireland, to be fair. I think the argument started really when Brett Lee and Premier Fantasy were roughly about the same time. You could put either of them as the best ever, but one way or another, our syndicate, or we will find out who is better.
You think it will happen?
I think it will happen.
I'm excited about that. Do you think, given the fact that TAB are putting so much money into Australian greyhound racing, do you think here, with a very different model, do you think our bookmakers could maybe give a bit more back? Do you think they take too much from the sport?
I think some bookmakers do. I know they've got the fund to pay in and they all pay the little bit in, but I do think that they could be putting more in. There's obviously bookies, and we know the SIS and whatnot. They're taking a lot of money out of the sport. I don't think they put enough in. How we resolve that, I don't know the answer, but I think that there is enough money out there that has been generated in the sport, and it needs to go back into it, really.
Well, as a young owner in the sport, and as you say, forward thinking, I know you have quite strong opinions on things that could be done better here. Despite the lack of funding, you think that there could be a lot of changes that could really help try and bring it into the 21st century. What would you like to see happen?
Well, to be honest, I look at the things that Karen's doing at Romford, the way that they're using social media. Every track in the UK should be using social media. I know, that there's welfare concerns. You speak to people. We use social media. We go in there. Everybody's got a camera phone. Everybody can stream from a track. Everybody can ask questions to trainers, visit kennels, behind the scenes at tracks. We should be using technology, and we're just not using it well enough.
And you work for iRacing, but your day job actually is in website design and technology. So it's something you've actually offered to help with it in various places before as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it's not really accepted.
No, I've offered obviously Nottingham, and I've offered other tracks if they would like any assistance in getting the live streaming set up. By all means, they can contact us and we'll talk about it. The technology's there. It's not difficult to set up. I just think we need to be using technology more to spread a positive message about the sport.
You touched on welfare. Do you think we're doing enough on that front?
I think we're better than what we were. I think we could be improving in what we do, and I think funding, if we had more funding, it would assist with that. And I think the Australians would agree that funding has allowed them to be better on their welfare.
Would you like to see funding coming in from, say, corporates, other companies, more funding from outside of bookmakers, perhaps?
Outside the bookmakers, SIS, ARC, TRP, everybody just needs to fund the sport a bit more. At the end of the day, the dogs are the most important thing, and we need more money in there to support their welfare throughout their racing careers and afterwards.
So on the one hand, we need more money in the sport. On the other hand, you're very involved in ownership, heavily involved here and in Australia. Do you see a long future for the sport?
I think in the UK at the present moment in time, we're kind of plateau. We're not going. I don't think we're going forward, but we're not going back. We're just sustaining. But I'd like to see us really kick on, learn some lessons from our cousins in Australia, take some advice from them as what they've done. Not everything that we do will cost a lot of money using live streaming, that type of thing. But I do think the key to us growing the sport is by embracing technology.
So if you took over Mark Bird's job tomorrow and you were head of the GBGB, what's the first thing you would do?
It's a big question. I think I would sit down with the people, the track managers and the racing managers, sorry, and the important people in the sport, have some honest conversations about how they think the sport could grow, and move into the 21st century. It's 2020 now. We're still doing things that we were doing back in 2000. Technology and everything's moved on now.
And just finally, as an owner, because I know that's where your heart really lies, what are your ambitions? What day do we say, yes, he's achieved what he wanted to achieve?
Well, I think when anybody becomes an owner in the UK, they get a graded winner, they want an open winner, they want a competition winner. But for us now, it's more about, we've now got Australia, so now we've got winners there. We want to win at the highest end of the sport in Australia. We want to win the highest end of the sport in the UK, but also we've got the element. We want to know who's got the best dogs, and so we need to be sending dogs out there and bringing dogs back to really test that.
It is fascinating, and it's all across your social media. So for those watching this who want to follow you, where do they go?
My social media is at David J Mitch on Twitter, and Blue Tick Racing is at Blue Tick Racing.
Do keep us posted, and all the best with it. Good luck.
Thanks very much.